Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your June 2018 mid-month readings. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Welcome to any newcomers. Thank you for all your likes, shares, subscribes, and your support and comments and feedback. And always a big thank you to all of my clients out there, both regular and new, for continuing to keep me so busy with one-on-one readings. As most of you know, if you are interested in a one-on-one personal reading with me, live or recorded, you can get more information on my contact details by going to my YouTube channel's homepage, clicking on that little About button, or clicking on the description bar of all the videos I post. I do a wide variety of readings in all areas of life, including gift readings if you want to gift someone with a personal reading. Please feel free to email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you, set up a reading as quickly as possible. Turnaround time is pretty fast, as I do readings full-time 5 to 6 days a week. So if you're interested, contact me and I'll get back to you within the same day or the first 24 hours of contact. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy for fast answers to a quick question. That link is also provided as well. All right, let's move right into this. This reading is for the fire sign of Sagittarius for the remainder of June 2018, the last half of June. Remember to check your rising and your moon sign videos as well if you know them for additional clarification. All right, Sagittarius, let's see what's in store for you for the last couple of weeks of June. We begin with Strength, followed by the 8 of Pentacles, the 9 of Cups, followed by the 10 of Wands. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and advice for the remainder of June is the Lovers. So 2 major arcana cards, some pretty significant energy for the remainder of the month. Well, I think you like with most if not all of the signs, it looked like the more challenging energy, you know, in the beginning of the month videos, the more challenging energy was mostly centered in like the first half of the month. So your overall energy, focus, advice for the last couple of weeks of June is the Lovers major arcana card. This can represent a very significant soulmate karmic relationship, a very passionate one. You know, there's no lack of heat in this relationship. You know, soulmates don't necessarily mean of the romantic sense. They can sometimes represent best friends or people with whom you feel you're very karmically connected. Although the Lovers does have a bit more of a lean, as you can see, towards, you know, the romantic sense, because it is the Lovers and usually how it's depicted here. So a very significant, passionate soulmate relationship could be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, etc. But the energy of the Lovers also represents making a significant decision. In the early tarot decks, this wasn't called the Lovers, it was called the Choice. And it showed a man standing in front of 2 women or a woman standing in front of 2 men. The implication being that a choice had to be made, a significant choice that was going to have a significant impact on the lives of everyone involved, particularly a primary relationship. This does not mean, if this is resonating as a relationship reading for those of you watching, it does not mean that somebody's choosing between 2 people, although, you know, general readings, you're reading for a lot of people, that could always be the case. But it does represent that kind of the focus and energy over the last half of June. It looks like there's an important decision, a decision-making energy or a choice that you're contemplating making, or perhaps will be making, and it may affect a significant relationship in your life, or you and your partner may be in this decision-making process together. So we find ourselves around the middle of the month, 3rd week or so, with Strength and the 8 of Pentacles, although this energy is just kind of the energy for the last half of the month. So Strength is a card about facing your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, your worries, wrestling with your demons, so to speak. It can represent taking a good hard look at yourself, at a particular situation or relationship, and looking at and maybe owning maybe any part that you've had to play, you know, facing whatever it is that you're afraid of within a situation and walking through it, having the strength and courage and humility to walk through that, into that fear, deal with it, and make peace and embrace yourself completely, coming out through the other side of it. It takes a lot of strength to do that, but you also gain a lot of strength, wisdom, and insight from doing that. You can see that this woman has tamed this wild beast, this lion, which is, you know, symbolic for our fears, our doubts, our insecurities. We may be afraid of making a decision. You know, we have these fears about, you know, well, what if I do this and this happens, or what if I do this and this happens, or what if I don't do this and this happens. This is about making the decision you feel that is the absolute best right thing for you to do based on your intuition. Either about a significant relationship or with a partner, and facing the fears that you have and walking through them into freedom. So it looks like you've been doing that or are in the process of doing that in the last half of June, particularly around the middle of June. You know, and I think that you've been doing this for some time. You've been step by step, you know, everybody has good and bad days, but step by step you've been dealing with this. You've been doing a lot of work, facing your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, because it is work to do that. And it can be very repetitive, a kind of work. You know, it's not facing our fears and our doubts and our insecurities and working through them. One of the reasons it takes strength is because it's typically not, you know, an event. It's typically like a process that we go through, and it does require step-by-step work, and sometimes it can feel kind of repetitive. I mean, strength is clarified by the Eight of Pentacles, which is, I call the work card or the worker bee card. It can represent working a lot, working hard, working steadily. You're building up a foundation for yourself. You're already at the 8 here, 10s being completion. It can represent repetitive work, really being focused. Pentacles is earth energy too, and it can often represent the earthly concrete part of our life in the tarot. You know, work, career, money, finances, property, resources, etc. And I mean, the decision that you have to make, it could be that you need to make a decision about work or job or career path or money or something that you've been putting into or building up over a long period of time, and this decision may affect your primary relationship, or it could be a decision that the two of you are making together. It could be to, you know, perhaps transition out of a career path or retire, or, you know, something that you've been putting a lot of work into. It could be a property, a home, a project of some kind. And even for those of you, when I say job, when it comes to Pentacles energy, it doesn't necessarily mean like a conventional 9-to-5 job, clocking in, clocking out, or, you know, it could represent working at home. It doesn't necessarily have to represent a conventional job if you don't work or are retired or work at home or something. It represents the day-to-day effort you put into your day-to-day life that maintains your life. Even if you're, you know, a homemaker, which, you know, you put a lot of work into your day-to-day life to maintain that life. So it looks like you've been working hard at facing your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, some of you, and others of you, you may be in the middle of facing some fears, some doubts, and insecurities about something that has to do with job, work, career path, a project, home, property. And the decisions that you make may affect your significant other relationship or a primary relationship. For some of you, it may be about the relationship itself, the work that you've been putting into the relationship itself, although I'm not getting, I think that might be only for a small portion of you. I'm not getting this as strictly just a relationship reading. I do feel for a lot of you, there's this sense of, you know, needing to make a decision about something that's going to affect your primary relationship, regardless of the details of it, because general readings, there's a lot of you watching, everybody has different lives. But you have fears about maybe, you know, if I bring something to a close, how's it going to affect this relationship? Or, you know, I've been putting a lot of work into it, and facing my fears and doubts and insecurities about whether what I'm doing is worth continuing to invest in. So the fundamental energy is that you're contemplating that, you're facing your fears about it, or you're in the process of facing your fears about it. And you need to, because that's what's going to help you make this decision. Working through your fears is a process, but it's a process of action. Just sitting in your fears, your doubts, and insecurities paralyzes you, and it keeps you from making a decision that looks like it's pretty important to you and at least one other person. So at or towards the end of the month, you know, there's this beautiful energy. You have the 9 of Cups and the 10 of Wands. So the 9 of Cups is the primary wish fulfillment card of the tarot. I've heard it sometimes referred to as the lottery card. It does represent getting what you want, having an overabundance of what you want, because this man does. He has more than enough to eat and drink for himself. His physical surroundings are comfortable, and it's spilling over. It's an overabundance, and he's sharing it with friends and family. There's just a sense of, and I feel it's overwhelming, and it feels like there's a sense of relief at the end of the month too, which I can totally understand, because it looks like there was a lot of, it looks like there was a lot of turbulence in the first part of the month, and May and April too. I think it's been kind of an interesting spring for people. But as you end and get closer to the end of June, there's a sense of overflowing abundance and happiness, because there's a weight gone, a weight lifted. And with the 10 of Wands, because 10s represent completion, a cycle coming to an end, culmination, achievement, or something, you know, ending so it can transition into something else. What's ending here? Well, whatever it is, and it's going to vary in a general readings, it has been a burden, and it's been one that you've been carrying for a while, and one that feels quite heavy. Even if it started out as being something positive, it could just represent something that you've been, you know, putting a lot of work and effort into, carrying it successfully. But the time has come. It is coming to an end. You are laying this burden down, whether it's a person, place, situation, job, career path, a project. You've put an awful lot of work into this. You've been putting an awful lot of work into it. You've had fears and doubts and insecurities. You faced those, or are facing those, and at the end of the month there's a sense of this burden being laid down, and my goodness, are you so happy. I actually feel, and maybe it's because this is a common time of year for people to move, but I actually feel like there's traveling at the end of the month, or moving, relocating, traveling at the end of the month too, or close to the end of the month, although the timing may vary in general readings. And that is also contributing to this sense of an uplifting of energy, and a feeling of you know, your cups overflowing as well. So beautiful, beautiful reading. You know, I mean, for those of you for whom this might be just strictly a relationship reading, you know, doubts, worries and fears, and the work you're put into it, and things coming to an end, it could always mean that the completion is that you're leaving a relationship behind. But honestly, I'm not feeling that at all. I'm not seeing like breakups, or in fact, I see more of a reconciliation, coming together energy at the end of the month. And it could be that maybe there was separation, you know, geographical or emotional, or a combination of both, during some decision-making process with you and the other person, or you know, each of you together in separate spots. And you know, you've looked at what you've invested in this relationship, you've faced your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, and at the end there is a sense of reconciliation, coming together, and my goodness, just the happiness just kind of overflowing. So as this burden comes to an end, and the pressure and the weight is alleviated. Wonderful, gorgeous reading, Sagittarius. Very happy to bring it to you. I hope that you've enjoyed it and found it helpful, because this pretty much wraps up your June 2018 mid-month readings. Again, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, please feel free to email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be so happy to work with you. Set up a personal reading as quickly as we can. You can get that information by clicking on the little About button on my YouTube channel's homepage, or clicking on the description bar of all the videos I post. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy. That link is also included. So Sagittarius, my fun-loving Sagittarians, I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the July 2018 general readings. And until then, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.